Man, what a beautiful time it is in Chicago. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe what I'm actually about to say right now. Hey, sports fans, welcome to Sports Talking with Cam. I'm your host, Cameron Gooseby, and today I am proud to announce that the Bears, they upsetted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 20-19 on Thursday Night Football in front of millions and millions of people around the world that was watching on live television. Now, in the first quarter, it was a very slow start. The offense had a terrible. They did not have a terrible time, but the offense, they had some movement, but then Foles threw a terrible interception to Carlton Davis, which was bobbled off the hands of Allen Robinson. And Carlton Davis, he ran the interception back for a 35-yard return, and the Bears fell down 10-0 after that interception by Nick Foles. Now, the defense also allowed a lot of things up the middle. They allowed a lot of running up the middle, and like I said, that run defense, it has to literally get better. If you guys haven't heard, Damon Snacks Harrison, the guy who I was just talking about weeks ago in most of my videos, he is now with the Seattle Seahawks. And now I don't even know what we're going to do. We need to get a run-stopping, nose tackle D lineman who knows how to stop the run and someone who can make some tackles in the middle. And literally, we did not have that last night, and it almost cost us big time. Now, second quarter, Tampa Bay had extended their lead off of a field goal to make it 13-0. And in the second quarter, the Bears didn't score until late in the second quarter with a touchdown drive from Nick Foles to David Montgomery on the run, and they made it 13-7. After the touchdown, Tom Brady throws a complete pass to Keyshawn Vaughn, but a second later, Kyle Fuller makes a clutch hit, which was a forced fumble, and the Bears picked it up, and the Chicago Bears, they were on their own 20-yard line when this happened. So it was a big turnover in the game, and literally everyone on that offensive side, on the offensive side of the ball, they took advantage of that. A few plays later, Nick Foles, he throws a beautiful ball into the end zone to Jimmy Graham, who caught a one-handed touchdown grab over the defender, and it was a really good catch, and it was a really good ball too by Nick Foles. And the Bears led 14-13 at halftime. Now, in the third quarter, Tampa Bay kicked a field goal to make it 16-14, but also they failed to put up any more points in the third quarter thanks to a series of penalties from their offensive linemen, from holding, from unnecessary roughness from the offensive side of the ball, and there was an offensive pass interference called, and there was a lot of things going on Tampa Bay side of the ball. It caused Tom Brady to get really upset because he really wanted to put more points on the board, and luckily for the Bears, they did not put any more points on the board thanks to that drive. Now, in the fourth quarter, also, by the way, Bears didn't even score in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, it was a field goal festival with Brady and Foles not racking up any touchdowns, and late in the game, the Bears were forced to punt after giving up a field goal to Tampa Bay, and they were forced to a 3-and-out. And Tampa Bay was forced to a 3-and-out by that Bears defense, and it gave Nick Foles one more opportunity to win this football game. And by the way, the score was 19-17 at that time. Also, the Bears hit 2 field goals compared to Tampa Bay's 1 in the fourth quarter, and that's what ultimately won them the game. Now, on this drive, Foles threw some beautiful throws down the field, and he did not allow any pressure from that Tampa Bay pass rush to get to him and throw him off. Then, with 1:23 left to go in the game, Cairo Santos kicks a 35-yarder, and the Bears led 20-19 with 1:23 left. Now, I like that they took the lead and stuff like that, but a minute and 23 seconds in a football game, like it or not, That is a lot of time. And on the other side, Tampa Bay's quarterback, you have Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, has six Super Bowl rings, and you're giving him a minute and 23 seconds to go on and win the football game. He doesn't have to score a touchdown. All he has to do is all he has to do is lead that offense, and the kicker just has to kick a field goal. Simple. But yet, it was 1:23 left in the game. I don't know why Matt Nagy decided to pass the ball on a second and 9. I don't know why he decided to pass the ball. It was not a really good decision. And honestly, that's what almost cost us this game as well, because of the questionable play calling. Like, if you run the football, you're running down the clock. If you pass the football and it's an incomplete pass, that stops the clock. And literally the Bears almost lost this game because Matt Nagy decides to pass the ball. Nick Foles throws an incomplete pass, and the time froze. Like, you're not supposed to do that in the middle of a football game. If you're trying to win something, you're not supposed to do that. Now back to the game summary. Brady and the Bucs had some time to get to a field goal range, but the Bears defense came up with the ultimate stop on 4th and 5 without Brady even knowing about fourth down. And the Bears escaped the Bucs with a win, 20-19, after a couple of Nick Foles kneel downs. And the Bears won this game 20-19. Like, that is crazy. I was not expecting that. And by the way, speaking of predictions, I literally said the Bears were going to lose 27-14. They did not disappoint me. I mean, they did not prove me right. They proved me wrong. So I technically lost this game. This was my first prediction where I was actually wrong in the Bears' outcome in this game. Now, let's go into stats. Nick Foles, he had 30 out of 42, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, with an 83.7 QB rating. And Tom Brady, greatest of all time, he had 25 of 41, 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, with an 86.7 QB rating. Now rushing, Ronald Jones had 17 carries, 106 yards, and David Montgomery had 10 carries for 29 yards. Now, there comes a time where every running back, not even every running back, but every athlete goes through a cold stretch. But David Montgomery cannot be going through this cold stretch right now because he has some tough games ahead of him, and literally everyone's going to be coming after him. So this is actually the second time this week where he didn't even run for at least 40 yards. So I'm getting kind of concerned, not only for Montgomery, but for the offensive line. And I will let you guys know just a bit of how concerned I am for that offensive line. Now, receiving, Allen Robinson, 10 catches, 90 yards. Cordero Patterson, he was a solid help. He had 3 catches, 38 yards. But he caught some good throws from Nick Foles, and he was a good help down the stretch of this football game. Jimmy Graham also had 3 catches, 33 yards, and a touchdown reception. He also caught some really good catches from Nick Foles, and he was also a pretty big help for us. Now for Tampa Bay's side, Tyler Johnson, 4 receptions, 61 yards. Rob Gronkowski, the man who came out of retirement, 3 receptions, 52 yards. And Mike Evans with 5 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown reception. Now moving on to the defense, we had Carlton Davis, who had 7 tackles, 1 interception that was returned for 35 yards. He played a pretty good game. Jordan Whitehead, 6 tackles, 1 sack, and Levante David, their star linebacker of the team, he only had 5 tackles. We did a solid job of trying to keep away from him. Now, for Chicago's side, Danny Trevathan, 8 tackles. Roquan Smith, 7 tackles. Khalil Mack, 3 tackles and 2 sacks. It really could have been 3, but the referees called a questionable roughing the passer call on Khalil Mack for some reason. And Kyle Fuller, actually, this is my defensive MVP of the game. It's actually Kyle Fuller because he had 6 tackles, but that one forced fumble that changed everything of this game because the Bears, I won't say they were in deep trouble, but they were in trouble because Brady looked like he was about to get something going. But luckily that forced fumble happened and the Bears won likely because of that forced fumble and many other things in this football game. Now heading into team stats, when we look at first downs, Chicago and Tampa Bay, they were actually identical. They both had 18 first downs total for the outcome of this game. Now, as far as third down efficiency, Chicago was 3 of 10 compared to Tampa Bay's 4 of 14. Neither team could really convert on third down that much during this game. The Bears had 243 total yards compared to Tampa Bay's 339 total yards. So yeah, this one things get interesting. And then yards per play, Chicago 4.1 compared to Tampa Bay's 5.3. You see what I'm getting at here? Passing, Chicago 208 compared to Tampa Bay's 243. Rushing, Chicago's 35 compared to Tampa Bay's 106. As far as rushing attempts, Chicago 14 compared to Tampa Bay's 20. And then on the average, like rushing average, Chicago 2.5 yards per carry compared to Tampa Bay's 5.3 yards per carry. So, in all honesty, Tampa Bay outplayed Chicago in this game as far as statistics go. I don't think they never won the game, but like looking at these stats, literally they outplayed Chicago statistically in this game, and there's no way you would really see any NFL team outplay another team statistically and lose. So this was something rare that we see. And then with the penalties, my God, the penalties. The Bears had 6 penalties for 66 yards compared to Tampa Bay's 11 penalties for 109 yards. And this also is what ultimately lost Tampa Bay the game. I thought those 109 yards lost or, penalized for this game. I think this is what really caused them to lose this game because they were not playing disciplined football. There was a lot of holding calls, a lot of trash talking, unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conducts. Like all the things were happening, and they were just not being disciplined. And luckily, the Bears came out and won this game from those alone. Now, concluding my show, like I said, I really can't believe that the Bears won this game. They're 4-1 on the season. They're trailing Green Bay by a game. The Packers are 5-0, and both the Lions and the Vikings, they're both 1-3. So the Bears were second in the NFC North. And literally, like, anything could happen in this NFC North race. And like I said, I'm hoping that we could give Green Bay a stiff competition for the NFC North crown. Because I still think that Green Bay is the better team. But I think the Bears, that's the only team that can really give Green Bay some stiff competition. Now, really concluding, I'd like for you guys to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and hey, you guys have a good day. And as always, go Bears!